Now this here is a noble false widow, Steatoda nobilis. I'm just about to see the markings on the back there, which kind of horseshoe mark. This one's a darker one, and they're not aggressive spiders. What they always do is they clam up like this when they feel they're under threat or attack. This one's unhappy because I took it out of its web, and it was in a window frame near the house, and the family don't really want false widows because they are venomous near the house. But you can see it's not a poisonous spider. I have a plate under my hand here, so if it falls off, pick it up. There she wakes up, look. She's walking around on my hand, up my sleeve if I'm not careful. And there she is. She's not aggressive. She could give me quite a bite. Be like a bee sting bite. Oh, and there she is on the plate. And they're not... False widows normally sit in webs upside down. The female of Steatoda nobilis does. And see, she's struggling, sliding. They're not great on slippery surfaces. So even a shallow plate like this can keep a false widow busy. They make very strong webs. You can just about see her there. I'll see if I can, bearing in mind I'm filming with one hand, which isn't easy. But they're not aggressive at all. In fact, I had one climb up. They do like to hitch rides on people's clothing sometimes if you go into a shed. See, she knows my hand is there and she doesn't want to get on it. But she's not, see, she's staying away from me. But you can see the markings there now. Beautiful markings. Some of them are very bright. This one is more of a drab one, but some specimens can be extremely bright. Now she's quite big, but they can get a lot bigger. And they can, when they're having young, they have a sort of their abdomen can swell up to the size of a blackcurrant. And they look about the size of a garden spider. They would be the exact same size, but they hang upside down in a tangled web. The web is extremely strong. And look, see, she's sliding. She's a short of a leg, all right. And normally they'll be upside down in their web at night. They tend to be mostly nocturnal. They like dark places. We have very little sunlight today, which in some ways is very good because it stops the shiny objects like plates from reflecting into the camera. But at the other end of the spectrum, it can be a little hard to see what's going on. Male of this species is he has a smaller abdomen and he actually has longer legs, and I think that's so he can as safely as possible mate with the female, which isn't easy. The females do eat the males, not always though. I've seen some males actually go along a wall, mate with one female, survive to leave the web and mate with another female on the same wall and actually go along. So I think some males, they are quite intelligent. I mean, she knows my hand is here and she's going to avoid. Look at, she doesn't. Oh, there we go. She's back on my hand. Oh, now back on the plate. See, she didn't want to be on my hand too long, but she knows I'm a living organism, possibly. You see now the way she's hunched up there, that means she's afraid. Now the markings on the false widow are quite similar to the markings now on this species to the windowsill spiders, as they call them, the window lace weavers, some people call them. And this one wouldn't be, this one's a decent sized false widow, but she's not. They can be a little bit bigger. See, now she's deciding, am I going to be attacked? Her eyesight's pretty good. Usually the best way of spotting a false widow is there's two eyes on the back, on the top of the head, and they're very shiny. Give it a sort of sinister quality. Now there is another species of venomous false widow in Ireland, and that's the Steatoda grossa, which is actually very black and shiny, but it's slightly smaller. Well, this is about as big as it will get. This one will be about the size of a large Steatoda grossa. But Steatoda grossa is very shiny all the time. It tends to be very black. It has a slightly different marking, kind of like chevrons on the back, 3 chevrons in a row, like 3 little arrows pointing forward. Whereas you can see Steatoda nobilis here has this sort of white, you can almost call it a death's head marking. It's very similar to a marking you see on a lot of the lace weaver spiders. And you're probably, like most spiders, they don't bite. Like I say, one of these got on, I felt something crawling on the back of my neck after I was in a shed. And it had actually climbed up, it climbed up under my hat. And just, I'm actually wearing this, and this has little, it's not really, it's sort of a neck thing, little necker, you know, it's one you can turn into a hat. You buy, has drawstrings, and I thought the drawstrings were hanging on my neck, and then I suddenly felt something under the hat crawling on my hair. And when I took off the hat, a large one, a very large Steatoda nobilis false widow, just abseiled out of it, like you saw that one doing, abseiling onto the plate there. So always be careful when you go into sheds. If you get bitten, it's because they tend to get into your clothing, and they do have a, unfortunately, they wouldn't normally go out of their way to do it, but just if they think, they do seem to think, I know it hasn't been studied yet, but they do seem to think they can actually get around by climbing on people and dogs. I've seen them on the backs of dogs. They don't do it all the time, but sometimes you'll see the dog come into the house and it's been under something, and there'll be a false widow sitting on its back. But the false widow, if you, gloves are something you leave in an outhouse, like heavy gloves. I know someone who got bitten because they put their hand into they just put their hand into gloves, but they didn't shake them out first. The reality of life, unfortunately, in 21st century Ireland and Britain and a lot of Europe is you have to shake things out, because due to globalization, so many species are on the move. And globalization started basically back in the 18th century. But now there's just so much movement of people, and people bring creatures with them, and they often don't know it. And the same goes for these guys. But look at her, she's just decided she's not happy. And just, she's not moving. She'll wait till darkness before she moves, but you see. But I'm going to put her somewhere safe. I don't want her to be too distressed. So I'll bring her down this path and put her into a hedge. And false widows actually don't mind the cold. That's what's, many people think they're tropical, but they actually, I've seen them in snowy conditions in up until -2 degrees. Now here's a hedge. I'm going to let it into this hedge, and they're often very happy in hedgerows, but they do kind of prefer. Oh, there you go. That's her. Now she won't want to stay there. She's running like mad. See, she's suddenly come to life. Just tells you how intelligent they are. I mean, a lot of that behaviour you saw earlier was just put on because she thought she might be in danger. And I see if I can get this to focus. Very hard while holding a plate under your arm. But she's running up that now. Oh, there you go, it's in. So this is a slightly unpolished video. I think that slightly is probably the... Let's see if I can get my finger into focus. And there she is, yeah, you can see her now. In pretty good focus. You have to use tricks in the world of cinematography. You see, she's not lunging at me or anything, she's very calm. And all false widows are like that. That's how they survive. You wouldn't last long if you went around attacking people, but at the same time it's nice to be packing something that can defend yourself with. Now the thing about false widows is they actually can do dry biting. Some snakes do this as well, where they don't have to inject venom, and they mostly use that if they bite people. They don't try to actually don't try to hurt you, they just try to nip you, let you go, make you let them go or leave them alone. But when you are bitten, what you can do is use baking soda, and it works on nettle stings and it works on bee stings, because bee stings are similar. Now just see if I can... That's her again. Once again, I apologize for this video. It's not the world's greatest video or videography. I'll use the white. There we go. It's bringing out the, bringing her into sharp focus there. Although the light, as I said before, is appalling. So not bad. But what you need to know is these spiders are really harmless. I mean, yes, they are venomous. They are venomous to humans, but they're not aggressive. There are spiders that are aggressive, such as the Brazilian wandering spider, which is a very large spider, which looks like a giant version of our house spider. But this is not aggressive, and it's related to the black widow. But even the black widows are not aggressive. None of these spiders go out of their way to cause trouble. See if I can get her face into focus. I use the term face loosely, but you know what I mean. It's very hard with this light. But there you go, she's not jumping at the camera, and the camera's nearly touching her at this stage. And if I pull away now, she'll probably go scuttling off. Her big enemy, of course, will be birds. Birds will grab false widows and other creatures. In fact, maybe I'm leaving her in a bad place, but I'd say I'll give her a chance. The birds might stay away for a while. So that's basically all I wanted to show you for now, that they aren't aggressive. You can handle them quite easily. Yes, they are venomous. That's true. I've been bitten myself once or twice. Usually when I was trying to dust something to see if I could get a photograph, and I accidentally knocked one down my sleeve. And sometimes they will give you a nip if that happens. As I said, one got under this hat. I crawled around a very big one, about maybe another half times as big as the one I was showing you there, which is about as big as they get. And it didn't bite me, and it was crawling around under my hat. So the trick is always stay calm with spiders, false widows, even of course venomous snakes, as many people will tell you. There's no reason to be afraid. Most creatures, they don't want to cause trouble, because if they cause trouble they get hurt, and it's the same rule right across nature. And they're not predators of human beings, they're a bit small for that. So they won't be stalking you or trying to get into trouble. In fact, they were very happy to live alongside human beings. And they do eat a lot of insects, and they kill flies, and they eat pests. They eat other spiders. They in fact eat spiders such as the big house spiders, which most people are afraid of. And the poor old house spider, of course, is not an aggressive spider at all. It's far bigger than the false widow. And well, almost, I've never heard of anyone being bitten by one while handling one. But people are afraid of them. And that's just arachnophobia, and arachnophobia probably has some purpose, because there are of course spiders like the Brazilian wandering spider and other spiders in the world which can deliver bites that we ought to be afraid of. And there may have been species which are extinct now, which we should have been afraid of. So anyway, that's the end of this little video, and it's not a great video, I know, but at least you get to see that the spider is quite well mannered, and you shouldn't be afraid of them, and it's important to remember that. And they're no worse than a bee sting, and bees, you shouldn't be afraid of bees either. They're very important creatures. False widows are an invading species. I don't know if they're invasive, because I don't think they're displacing anything that's already here, but it's important to remember that they are here to stay. There's almost no way of getting rid of them. We need to learn to live with them and not worry about them too much. But you do need to shake out your clothes, shake out your boots from time to time. It's just the nature of life these days. Okay, thank you.